rare situation is allowing you to buy some ETF stocks for 50% off. Learn more at crushthestreet.com/profit2017.
Hello everyone and welcome into crushthestreet.com. I'm Kenneth Amaduri and we're going to be talking about ways to improve your business. Look, this is information whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an aspiring entrepreneur. And look, we're going to get some great tips here. I've been on the line now with Andrew Wells. He's got a tremendous amount of experience in analytical solutions, working with Fortune 500 companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, down to small businesses, helping people analyze data to drive revenue. He's got a book out, Monetizing Your Data, a guide to turning data into profit-driving strategies and solutions. His name is Andrew Roman Wells, CEO of Aspirant, a business that helps people do the very thing the title of the book says. So Andrew, thanks for coming on the line with me today.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting.
Andrew, so I'd like for you to tell us about yourself. How did you get started in this? This business really sounds like a convergence of technology, entrepreneurship, mentoring. So I'd like to get a little idea of what led you down this path.
I've been on this path really, wasn't a straight path, that's for sure, which most
Never
entrepreneurial
is, right?
endeavors rarely are. I started off in the 90s in business intelligence. So that was helping organizations build analytical solutions. Then during the early 2000s, that sort of transitioned into not only helping them build analytical solutions, but helping them understand the data so they could take action on the information. And as information has exploded over the last really 10 years, and I've got some fun statistics for you on that, it has grown from not only how do I collect information, analyze it, and then act on it, organizations are turning to how do I compete on analytics? And it's really becoming a differentiator. Most organizations are looking at their analytical prowess as a competitive advantage and a strategic cornerstone to how they operate.
So Andrew, let's talk about that. So I mean, wow, what a revolution that we have now with the internet, and people are trying to use things like Facebook and social media and Google to analyze their information. What sort of information have you found in general to be the most relevant in terms of driving revenue as we're talking about here?
Good question. It really depends on the business problem that you're looking to solve. My starting point for most of my clients is to start with what are you looking to drive? What are you looking to accomplish? And then working backwards from that. But assuming that you do not start there, the place that most organizations start is with their customer data. Understanding who their customers are, how to align products and services tailored to specific segments of their customer base, and then treating their best customers like their best customers, treating them a little bit better. So that's typically where the journey starts for most organizations, and it tends to bear fruit faster.
Wow. Well, it's kind of interesting. I've heard of some different, there's this guy on the internet, his name is Cliff High, and he gathers what he calls predictive linguistics to try to anticipate what's going to happen in the economy and all these different things that are going on around the world, and using these algorithms and functions to analyze data. And is this the future for what we can expect in terms of human behavior and sales approaches, marketing approaches? I mean, right now, my phone, Alexa, all these different things are tracking every single thing that I do. I feel like I've given up all my all my privacy for certain luxuries. And but how is this changing the world for businesses?
It's really been amazing over the last 10, 15 years to see that explosion of information. There's a gentleman named Buckminster Fuller who came up with a theory called the knowledge doubling curve. And his prediction and what he saw was until the year 1900, human knowledge was doubling about every century. By the end of World War II, knowledge was doubling every 25 years. Today, it's pretty much the consensus is that knowledge is doubling about every 13 months, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And IBM has a prediction out there that with the Internet of Things, when our machines talk to each other, that knowledge is going to start to double every 12 hours.
Wow.
So if you can imagine just all this information that's out there from, and you named it, from internal systems, point of sale systems, to social, to text information, and machines talking to each other, we're just flooded at this point. So how to best utilize that information and comb through it is really what we wrote the book about, and what our company is about as well. And we start with what we call decision architecture, and it's outlined in the book, where we help people walk through from strategic objectives down to the decisions that impact a particular process, how to map that out, and then how to align analytics to it so they can make better decisions, as well as figure out what's the right data that they need to monetize.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. I was trying to wrap my mind around what it means to double the amount of knowledge that humans know. And for that to happen in, what, you said 12 hours or?
12 hours.
I'm just like, I don't even know. I can't even fathom what that even means in such a short period of time. So you talked about some of these statistics, and I'd like for you to share, what you've found and what is changing. I think that was one of them. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience in terms of, what's changing in our world?
Well, the other, big change, as I alluded to earlier, is companies are starting to compete on analytics. And it doesn't need to be as advanced as, natural search, predictive models that are combing the internet to try to figure out what the next movement is on the stock market. There are some just basic things your average company can do to understand their customers or their products or services or their market or the industry, and apply that science, if you will, to make better decisions to drive their company forward. What the transition that you're seeing in the marketplace is we're going from an era of really a lot of cognitive bias, where you use your gut to make a decision. You're using your experience and your knowledge that you've built up over time to make the best decisions possible. That's moving from, now that we have the data to help us make the decision, we're getting away from these gut decisions and cognitive bias to let the data tell us what we should do or inform us better on what decision we need to make. That, with your experience, will help better tune the actions that drive your company forward.
Wow. Well, look, I think about the changing world, and I think about what my kids are going to deal with, and I feel such a responsibility in preparing them for what the future. And my kids are 3 and 1 years old, and I'm like, I don't even know what the world is going to look like in 5 years. How do I prepare these kids to be self-sufficient and for them to take care of their own families for years and years down the line? It's such an overwhelming thought with how much things are changing. And I'm just curious, someone like you who spent your career in technology. I mean, where is things going? And you know what? Before we get there, education is one of those things that I think is drastically changing. We've done some documentaries on college, and I think there's a massive change that's going to happen. I mean, especially with the internet and instant access to almost anything you want to learn for free. I mean, what is the future, in your opinion, going to look like for education? And do you see the college system being the way it currently is for many more years down the line?
Wow, what a great question. And if I had a crystal ball, I could answer that one. My best guess, based off of my 25 years in the IT space, is that the speed of change is only increasing. And having one profession for an entire career is definitely gone. You're going to have multiple careers and multiple professions and roles that you play within the time that you're working. I do think more education is going to move online, and we may go back to where there's more trades than core education. For example, in the IT space, college degrees are nice, but expertise are more valued. So if you're an expert in Java development, that has more value than a 4-year college degree. Now, if you have a 4-year college degree and you're an expert in Java, then that's definitely a higher mark. But I think, if I were to give advice to my children and what to take from college, it's adaptability, the pace of change, constant learning, and being good problem solvers are probably where a lot of our education system, in my opinion, needs to go. But there are probably people that are a lot smarter on the education front to speak to that question.
Okay, Andrew. So the reality is we have a lot of small business owners that are listening to this podcast. I don't know if we have any Fortune 500 companies, CEOs that are listening to me. Maybe there are. I don't know that. But if you were going to work with one of us, let's say myself. I mean, I run a small business here. How would your services help us on a specific basis here?
So I would, probably point people to the book first. That's going to be the lower cost option just to get you going. And I would start with what your business objectives are, and then understanding the competitive landscape, and then where you want to go in that landscape. From there, once we know the objectives that you're looking to reach, we can then figure out what information we need to cull together to align to that competitive advantage or strategic objective that you're trying to accomplish. So, for example, you want to increase services revenue by 20%. We would look at the marketplace, what particular services are you offering, and then try to understand, well, what data do you have internally? And then what data do we need to augment with to get a clearer picture of how you can best accomplish that objective? And then we help you monetize that data. So what is it worth? And then what's the value of the decision worth? So you can make a clear delineation between, okay, I'm making this decision to go in this direction. It's worth X amount. And then here are the steps that I need to do it. And then here's the data that supports it. Ideally, you would also create an analytical solution that they could use on an ongoing basis that would help them constantly mine this information so they can make these decisions not once a year, but daily if they need to.
Sure. All right, Andrew. Well, hey, I want to give you an opportunity here to share some closing words of advice for the audience. And if people want to learn more about what you guys are offering and doing, where they would go and what they can expect to find.
Great. Thank you. So definitely hit our website, aspirant.com. Think aspirant.com is the best way to reach us. And, my word of advice for companies that are looking to leverage data or figure out how they're going to compete in this new world is, one, don't be intimidated by it. There's more than enough information out there that you can get lost in. The goal is to figure out what you want and then what's the right information to help you make the best decision possible. So don't feel like you're overwhelmed. And then the other piece of advice I would have for you is start with your customer. Start with really, if you're not doing a good job of documenting attributes and information about your customer, start including that in your business processes, from your point of sale systems to people that walk in the door. Get to really know them, augment that data with additional information that you can purchase, and then start to really figure out how you can solve for how do I get more of a particular customer or drive more revenue with my best customers. That's definitely the clearest and easiest path for most people to start on their journey.
All right, Andrew. Everyone, this is Andrew Wells. Andrew, thanks for coming on the line with me and sharing your experience. Really just revolutionary in terms of what you're doing and preparing for the future. Very relevant. And I commend you for that, or being in front of the trends rather than trailing behind, trying to stay on the horse and carriage while everyone else is driving cars. So thank you very much for coming on the show with me today.
Thanks for having me, Kenneth.